Okay, so let's get our acceleration here. Wow. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the all-new 2022 Land Rover Range Rover full size with the new V8 powertrain. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this V8 powered Land Rover. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below. Definitely check them out. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 4.4-liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 523 horsepower and then 553 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 16 around town and then 21 on the highway. Now let's go over the front end of the new Range Rover. So first off, you guys can see we've got the Range Rover logo front and center. And then coming down below, you can see here with the daytime running lights and then with the LED headlamps. And then notice here with the grille, you've got some like dark gray for the coloration. Of course, you got a Land Rover logo there off to the side. Parking sensors all along the front. And then notice the fog lights are integrated here into the bottom portion of the front bumper. We do have a camera there on the front as well. And overall, they've just kind of like smoothed all of the body lines off from a front end perspective. And so it still has that Range Rover appearance, but again, it kind of looks a little bit smoother, a little bit sleeker, a little bit more modern. Now coming on the side here, we've got 285mm tires wrapped around 23-inch wheels in the front and in the rear as well. That is right, 23-inch wheels from the factory. Now on this particular one, the wheels are all blacked out, tons of spokes. I think they look absolutely fantastic. Sorry about the lighting, it's just because of the time of day that it is. It's hard to see the wheels. Anyways, we do have air suspension as well. And then notice here how they've kind of molded the fender. And then of course we have the signature accent piece here on the side, but it doesn't pop out as much as the previous generation. It's all blacked out here at the bottom. The mirrors are blacked out. The roof is blacked out. I love the two-tone design. You got the pop-out door handles similar to the Velar. And just look again how sleek that looks from a side view perspective. Now here is the key fob for the new full size. Notice we got the Land Rover logo there. We have our unlock lock function, that's for the lights, and then this is to open up the rear hatch. So notice it'll pop open automatically with both parts. This does have the really cool tailgate here. Notice the carpeting, very luxurious. And you guys can see this whole setup right here with the cargo cover. And then notice here we've got some vents in the rear. And then we have a bunch of controls right here to basically lower and raise the seats. And then also notice for the air suspension, then notice you can do all the seats at once with that little 4 logo right there. But yeah, with the air suspension in the rear, basically you press that to raise it or lower it to make it so it's easier to load things up into the Range Rover. And got a little charging port there as well. But yeah, tons of storage space here in the back, and you can get a third row with the full size now, which definitely adds to the practicality. And then notice that I can just raise that if I want, but if you want to do both of them at the same time, you can press this, and if that one's still open, it'll automatically close with the top one, which is pretty cool. Now let's finish things up with the rear, and I love the styling of the new Range Rover from a rear end perspective. You guys saw the lights as they popped those on, super distinctive, but they have this like black trim piece that goes across the top and the bottom to kind of connect it. Again, we've got the Range Rover logo there. It's kind of hard to see because it's all blacked out, but trust me, it's there. And all blacked out here at the bottom, again with the parking sensors integrated there. And yeah, overall, again, just has this cool, sleek, futuristic design. Now here's the door panel on the rear. First off, notice we have these sunshades here, and then beautiful leather here at the top, and then we've got this beautiful wood trim here in the center portion of the door panel, and you can see more leather down below. We've got our memory seat function here for the rear, and there's actually 2 more functions right there. It's built into the seat adjustment controls, which is pretty cool. Window control, our door lock and unlock, and yeah, just look at this door panel, looks fantastic. And then here are these seats for the rear. So you've got really nice leather trim here for the headrest, perforated all down the center portion. And then notice here for the seats, it's kind of like little shortcut buttons. So like I can press this, for example, and it'll move the seat forward for me. And you guys can see that whole thing happening right now. Look at that. Super easy, everything's automated. That does let you access the third row. Now with the third row for the new full size, if you guys are wondering, there's a bunch of stuff on it, so I'm not gonna fold it up. I know that might annoy some people, but I have seen this folded up. It is a great place for kids. You can fit adults back there in a pinch, but I definitely would recommend typically using it for kids most of the time. And also, this is leather. What the heck? So this is what luxury is like. There's another Range Rover logo right there. Stepping in, it's really easy to get in. There is tons of legroom. Tons of headroom as well. And then notice we got a little storage pocket right here. We've got our own climate controls here for the rear. We've got a charging port down below, as you guys can see. And then notice we have pretty cool armrest. So it's like a center console. And then it also doubles as a cup holder situation. The material use on it is also fantastic. And yeah, just a really nice premium, you know, seating experience. And even the third row passengers have a pretty nice area. They've got like leather armrest and all that kind of stuff. Usually most manufacturers use plastic back there. Not Range Rover though. They give you a luxurious experience all throughout. Let's head to the front. Now here's the front door panel. Again, beautiful leather all over the door panel, and then you got the wood trim down below that. All of your seat adjustments with the memory seat functions, and then more leather trim down below that. Even on the bottom of the door panel, my goodness. Look at the window controls. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. We've got another Range Rover logo right there, and then here are the front seats again. Look at that leather, perforated leather here, all down the center. No controls on the side of the seat, right, because they're all on the door panel. And then look at the pedals. Those are really nice. And again, look at the leather here on the dash. Let's pop in. So here is the steering wheel. We've got beautiful black leather all around the steering wheel. You can see the stitching matches. And then notice here with the silver trim, we have this pretty interesting two-spoke design. Look at the paddle shifters here on the back, and then notice the controls here for the center stack, voice command control, and then we do have our cruise control on the other side, and then again, beautiful leather even around the airbag cover. Turn signal light stock, we got our windshield wiper stock on the other side, and yeah, I dig the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster. It's a full digital gauge cluster, and if I press that little button on the left side of the steering wheel, I can scroll through some different menus to see different bits of info on the car itself. You guys can see all the different menus that you can scroll through. Pretty cool system overall, actually. Like, it's pretty intuitive, and on top of that, I don't know, I like the animations on it. And other than that, well, there's the gauge cluster. So here is the center infotainment system. First off, if we pop it into reverse, you guys can see we've got a backup camera with trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel. Resolution's fantastic. You got that bird's eye view, and notice how we can see underneath the vehicle as well. That is so cool. And we have our off-road view as well. Notice we have actually a center locker and a rear locker as well. This has some off-road chops. Now you guys have probably noticed, and I'll actually pop into park so we can go to the rest of the infotainment system. We have a shortcut bar here on the side. You have to really press into the screen. It's kind of like a mouse pad type deal. So certain functions like sliding across the screen, right, you don't actually have to press, but when you want to go into the different menus, you actually have to kind of like click into it, and it's got haptic feedback, which is pretty interesting. You guys can see the elevation that we're at right now. But yeah, overall, it's kind of interesting. It does take a second to get used to. I have seen some other car reviewers complain about this system, but I'm just going to say it right now. Like, after playing with this for literally like 2 seconds, I've already gotten used to it. And yeah, it's super easy. Notice we can change the ride height as well. Now, the last thing I want to go over is this screen right here. You guys can see there's a bunch of different things happening. Notice we have our tailgate event suite. Yes, this is the party bus now officially. Of course, we got our low traction launch, and then you've got like your stuff for the seats, right, that you can go through here. And notice here how we can adjust the seats from the front, which is pretty cool. I don't know. There's just a lot of like different little tech features in this. Lots happening. I think it's cool. And then also we can control the climate zones here from the front as well, including the vents. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. You're gonna have to play with it for a while to get used to it, but it's really cool. Analog controls for the climate system down below, and then just like in previous versions, right, you press this in, and then notice how we can do the heated seat function. This one does not have air conditioned seats. It looks like it just has heated seats, as you guys can see, and then press it again, and then go back to the main menu, and then press, or sorry, not press it, but pull it, and then we can do the fan speed, for example. So yeah, really cool, intuitive system. And then notice here, we've got this panel of wood that will cover up this kind of like storage space area here with the cup holders USB. We've got the shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission with our stop-start button and then radio control button. And then we have our drive mode select. We'll get into the drive modes in a second. Our hill descent control, low range. And then we have more cup holder storage here. And then notice with the center console, very large and in charge, right? And then we have our double glove box. So you've got the bottom one, And then we have our top one as well in normal Range Rover fashion. And then just look at the fit and finish and the material use here on the dash. Okay, so quickly press this up, and then that'll let you change the different drive modes. So notice we're in the comfort, you got your eco, dynamic, and then on the other side you've got your off-road modes, so grass, gravel, mud ruts, sand, rock crawl, wade, and then it also shows you here in this portion. This will adjust the engine, the transmission, and the air suspension based on the drive mode that you go into. And then at the very top here, you guys can see here at the headliner, look at the grab handles, they actually look really nice. And then we've got the controls here for the full panoramic sunroof. We have a camera mirror as well, and there you go. So all this new tech does come at a price, and I love how they label exactly what this is on the window sticker, right? The package that this is, and then it's the long wheelbase, and then 7-passenger version. Anyways, you guys can see here with the standard equipment that comes with this from the factory. Here's the base price with this configuration. And then notice with the optional equipment on this particular one, including those 23-inch wheels, total price $141,505. And I also just noticed there's even leather here. Luxury cars, man. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Now let's go over visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility of the hood. You can now see the heads-up display, hopefully. Both of the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And also, they still have the armrest thing here. It's not necessary because you have the center console, but I guess it's a Range Rover thing. Anyways, let's set off. So, we are setting off in the full-size Range Rover with the V8. I have been waiting so long to be able to drive this, because you know this is a completely new powertrain for the full-size Range Rover, and so it's a very exciting time. So first off, low-end torque is just fantastic. So quiet. So while I was filming this video, there was actually an ambulance. You guys probably heard it in the exhaust clip driving by. I could not hear the ambulance until I opened up the door. Like, that's how good the sound insulation is in the new Range Rover. Like, it's just such a good luxury experience. And again, just like the material use is so nice. It's just awesome to see. Like, Range Rovers have always had nice interiors, well, at least over the last like 10 years, I feel like. But like, it's cool to see the progress. Like, it gets nicer and nicer every single year with the fit and finish and all that. I should have honked at that point. That was like a solid, like, what, 5 seconds? Or maybe I just have a very impatient personality. It's probably the impatient personality. But yeah, this is such a comfortable vehicle. Like, seat comfort is just fantastic. Like, the bolstering is just perfection, and the cushioning, like, I could just put so many miles on this and just be in complete comfort. I really like what they've done here with this. I'm surprised that this is riding this smooth, because again, it's got freaking 23-inch wheels. Like, vehicles with 23s don't ride this smooth. And the transmission's seamless. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be, you know, asking me about the engine, right? How does this compare to the supercharged 5.0 that was in this previously? And here's the deal. So far, I don't really see a downside to this powertrain at all. I actually see quite a few upsides. So first off, this seems to be a little bit quieter compared to the 5.0, right? And power delivery seems to be just as linear, if not more linear. It seems like I'm getting more torque at the low end. Yeah, I mean, I'm shifting at like barely over 2,000 RPMs and under 2,000 RPMs a lot of times. Yeah, and it's not like I'm going slow or anything, so that is solid. Now we're actually going to change the drive mode to the dynamic program here. I love the stock, so they have like nice material on the edge. Guys, notice how the gauge cluster fully changes? It looks like a race car now. Look at this. Look at the gauge cluster. That is so cool. It's a cool thing about having a digital gauge cluster is you get complete changes when you change into different drive modes. It has stiffened up with the air suspension, I can tell that. So I'm sure that's to help out with body roll. So let's get our acceleration here. Wow. Wow. Yeah, this is good. This is more than enough powertrain for this thing. We're just gonna pop it back into auto. It's so easy. You can just push down the dial and go back into auto. I love that. They don't have to scroll through a bunch of different drive modes to just get back into normal mode. Let's sum things up here with this. So first off, I've seen a lot of comments on the full size of the styling. I think it looks great on the outside, frankly. I think they did a really good job with the kind of like more minimalist approach to the styling. It looks sleeker, it looks a little bit more modern, and I'm sure it helps out with aerodynamic efficiency, frankly, right? And then in terms of the interior, they've done a really good job with the interior too, and that's a very steep curb, and we're able to just like crawl right up it because we got the ground clearance and it's the Range Rover. Anyways, yeah, just amazing interior, super comfortable. The V8 powertrain, I love it. I think this is a move in the right direction. Now there is, I noticed with a full acceleration, there is a little bit of a lag of immediate response compared to the supercharged engine. So when you're just like kind of like slowly driving around town, they feel pretty similar. But when you really go full throttle, that's where you feel the difference. But once you get into the turbos with this, man, does it move. And this thing is so fun. So yeah, I think that they did a fantastic job with the new full size, and the V8 powertrain is great. I will be making a video with one with the inline 6, and I'll be talking about the V8 powertrain, whether you should get it or not. Look at that. It'll park for me. Anyways, I'll be talking about the inline 6 and that, or the V8 powertrain and that too, comparing it and say, hey, which powertrain should you get, just to help you guys out if you're on the fence of one powertrain or the other. But what I can tell you is the V8's fun, it's great, and it is overall, with all things taken into consideration, I do think this is an improvement over the 5.0 for this particular vehicle because it lends to a more luxurious driving experience. That's gonna sum things up for our video on the all-new full-size Range Rover with the V8 powertrain. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this vehicle. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in the next video.